house music. It's always something to do with the dirt. We always have to be pulling ourselves out of the dirt. How they describe us, right?
The basement.
Basement. It's always right. And then you run with it and start to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Start to believe it, not realizing that you're saying that because she wear jewelry and them call her a queen, she better than an African princess who wear her traditional garb. We start to believe, and it's happening to us now again. We start to believe that we have to drive a Rolls Royce at 20 with the first contract.
Listen, at least the Rolls Royce has some kind of value, right? And it's a well manufactured machine. Let's talk about the trinkets, like the clothes that we value.
Yeah,
the Fendi and all of that bullshit. It's because we want proximity to whiteness.
Right.
But wait. Go ahead, Esco. But I just
was
want
to say
to.
many of us here are more self-aware than most, right? So we can see that sort of stuff, but I think a lot of us, because we're self-aware, we start to get arrogant and think that we don't have that inside of us too. No, it's inside of us.
Right.
Yeah. Look at even Chef. Chef talking about we don't love black people, right? But then he castigating a woman who's lost everything, lost her home. Money doesn't mean anything. She's walking around in 2 feet of water for taking a fucking football, right? Possibly to have for her children to entertain themselves during that fucked up time period. Like, who gives a fuck, right? But for him, he looks at it as some sort of degeneracy. That's how he sees it. And this is a dude who feels like a lot of us don't like black people for some of the fucked up shit. So we all do it, bro. We all got it inside of us, bro. And I feel like all of us collectively, we could each see different parts of it and point it out to each other. And it's on that person to be real with themselves and take a real inventory and say, you know what? When I really look at it, that is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't want to say that. I shouldn't have said that, but I get what you're saying. Hey, Stu Peace, hold up for 1 second. And Haskell, please keep that thought in mind. But now, Stu Peace, I want you to focus on the conversation that you and I were having last night, right? And the reason why is because now, where you and I were last night, we were talking about how the lane is bullshit. And I agree with you 100%, right? But now, think about it like this, though. I don't want us to make it, because Brother Vyasa is not here right now. I don't want us to
No. Stop. You're making a run assumption. May I ask you, we don't reason like that. We don't reason like that. That may have been a starting point, but we don't need him to be here, and we're not discussing him. Because what I'm discussing could have been discussed without him present. So don't do that.
Okay.
No, he's a grown up.
Okay, no. And maybe you're right.
I just want to say.
Yeah.
Dead it. But this is what I am.
What I want to keep us right here, though. Because I want us to focus on the lane. I want us to focus on the lane. In other words, 2Ps. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay.
The only thing about the lane, those 2Ps, right? The only thing about the lane, though, right? We've been doing it, right? But I hate to say this, and it's going. Please, guys, don't think of me in the quote unquote coonish way that y'all are saying. But if there was a way for us to get at a certain point, who's going to give us the record? Like,
right? No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Am I doing that? Am I doing the white X? Okay.
No, you're bordering on becoming a crossover Negro.
No, you're not, because I'm actually waiting to ask the same question. Like, I'm trying to see this. Like, what egregious violation did he make when he said that America acknowledged this?
Acknowledged, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What's so egregious about that? I don't get that.
Okay. No, the thing about it, let's use Motown. Let's use Motown with Barry Garden as an example. And all of the original artists. Are we going to use Chess? We can use Motown or we can use Chess Records. Chess was run by a white man or a Jewish man. Motown was run by a black man. No. These artists that belong to Motown, whether it want to be Smokey Robinson, whether it want to be Diana Ross, whoever it was already being recognized within their communities. Right? They were being recognized. Whether it want to be Chuck Berry, they were being recognized, and they were also being stolen from both record labels. Meaning that white people came and saw the talent.
Examples, Mahalia Jackson and Mariah Carey. Don't forget your examples, Tuki.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
that's coming forward. I'm not going. I am saying that black. No, we'll soon talk about Mahalia Jackson and Mariah Carey and how it work. They have already been recognized. Just as though, let me drop it in. Just as though Mariah Carey recognized every black religious singer of the past and sing in their style. Mariah Carey is a religious singer. And if you ask her, she recognized the Caesar sisters, Mahalia Jackson, among others. That's where she get her riffs from. And she talk about it. Right? Our people have always recognized us. Now, that recognition for many was not enough. Many of us feel that we need more than the recognition of our peers. We need the recognition of those people who believe that we are less than. We need to prove to them that we are more than what they perceive us to be. And that is when now you start to code switch. That is when now the Manhattans started to unsexualize the move. They started to dance differently, right? That is when the Pips look sexier than the Manhattans or the Temptations, because they were still raw. That is when you need to cross over, you sometimes sacrifice some of yourself in order to satisfy that new audience.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Oh fuck, I get what you're saying.
Right?
Okay, because yeah. I Stupies, I apologize.
Let me finish. Yeah. So why is the need to be recognized by other people? When we do good works, the primary person we do good works for is ourselves. And good works speak for itself. When chefs trim somebody, when chef gives somebody a dap haircut, chef don't have to speak to that haircut. That haircut speak for chef. So when that haircut go out on the street, somebody see that haircut and say, whoa, that's sharp. And the dude who gets it now say, oh, I got it from, I was walking in Baltimore and I saw a barber shop and it was fly. And I went in there and this ambiguous white man gave me the cut. Right? No, I'm fucking with chef. And this dude gave me the cut. And other people come to him. Your works recognize you.
Over. Why do
you Jewish
cross over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do they cross over?
Financial reason. The majority of reason why people cross over and why they wanted to cross over. Even outside of music. Why you crossed over is because it was financially beneficial to you. That's why you're a crossover Negro. Because you realize that it is more financially beneficial to be a crossover Negro.
To make a living, a crossover Negro, then so be it.
A living is different. Stop it. A living, don't use that a living argument. A living is different. Because most people were making a living. Crossing over put them. Oh, all right. If you feel that.
No, we're hearing you. Just talk, Steve. Right? We hear you.
Right. No, people going to say, oh, I had to make a living. Your work speak for yourself. And it would have crossed over on its own without you having to adjust who you are in order to facilitate them. That's the problem with a crossover Negro, is that he's not true to himself. He adjusts who he is in order to facilitate other people.
It sounded like you was about to say when he crossed over, that put him over the top. I don't think that's what you were about to say, but it sounded like. But I don't think that's what he was talking about. Snoop Peas. He wasn't mentioning. He wasn't saying it for that purpose. So I mean, what you're saying is, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't think that wasn't what he was speaking to. He was just simply saying that America had acknowledged it as a genre. So he was saying that to say that if you tried to find that genre before that time, it'd be listed as something different.
You won't find it.
Okay.
And Stu Peas, wait. I don't mean to cut you, but you're bringing up some points that I actually agree with, but that you didn't bring up last night. We weren't talking about the crossover aspect and us changing how we did things to meet a certain genre. All we were talking about, and Stu Peas, come on, you gotta give credit. All we were talking about was when
our conversations are not static. Our conversation are not static. Most of the conversation grow. Like he just asked a question. He just spoke to something that most people cross over. Most people, it's like white passing. Crossover is in the same family as white passing, Do anybody in here know what white passing is? But because we have seen so many people
I
do
absolutely it. Do. I absolutely do because some of my family used to do it, stupid. Go ahead.
Right? But because some of us now have been going through it so much time, we think it's natural. Even code switching. We code switch easily because we think it's natural. We code switch in order to properly fit in a round peg when we're a square or a square peg when we're round. We code switch. Is it a good thing? No. But is it necessary? In some cases, yes. I'm not denying that it may be necessary. I'm not denying. But the other thing is, let me. I just remember.
I don't think you live in reality. I think you live in a romanticized time. Do you know what these people were going through?
No, don't do that.
No, wait. You know what these musicians were going through back in those? They didn't have a nice job. They were on the road, bro. Like, do you understand what they were going through?
All right. Okay. Let me use an example.
Stupid. So listen, now you're trying to do two things at one time, right? Yeah. You're trying to demonize. You're trying to demonize it. No, hold up. But you said it was necessary just a second ago, and now you're about to go. You basically all last night you demonized.
Yeah, no.
You get me? And although the conversation is static, and we're bringing up code switching now,
it's not static.
That's what you're saying.
I doing the Trump. I swerve it.
Okay. But let me finish this.
I said one particular. I said one particular thing may be necessary, code switching, because we work in an environment, but it's not. We do not control the work environment. So sometimes it becomes necessary to code switch. I was just making reference to code switching alone. And I just remember what you asked me earlier, and it just flew to my head. If you just said, I just remember what you asked me. No, people will tell you that, these people are in poverty, these people are X, Y, these people are Z. If we use even the crossover in music, if we go back to the last 70 years and look at all of the musicians who crossed over before the last generation or before hip-hop came in, most of them ended up broke if they wasn't married to a white man like Tina Turner. Tina Turner died worth 80 million. Ike Turner died broke. And we know who was the talent in that group. We know who was inspiration to rock and roll, who made rock and roll what it is. Many persons diminish Ike Turner because they saw him beat Tina Turner in the movie, not realizing
what one of the greatest musicians ever.
Yeah, not realizing who Ike was and what Ike contributed to music. And in his attempt to cross over, which he never really ever was able to accomplish, he died broke. Chuck Berry died broke. Didn't own his samples. So sometimes you might think that you're crossing over for your own benefit, but you're crossing over for the benefit of other people, i.e. Chess Records, Berry Garden. And when Berry Garden was done with the music, instead of he sold stock and made you Motown a public company, no, he sold it to Viacom. So he crossed over to the benefit of Viacom. And it was back to the lane now. The lane argument you asked me about earlier. Why the lane is so bad? The lane is bad because it boxes you in as a person, as a people. It boxes you in. Basically, it tells you to shut up and dribble. Right? They're not telling those white fathers of the quarterbacks, the two prominent white quarterbacks, and the father was in the NFL. They're not telling him to shut up and dribble when he makes a statement. But because LeBron is a black basketball player, that's all he knows.
And that's why I'm conflicted, Steve, because we don't talk about who's the best white quarterback. That's why I'm conflicted.
No, we're talking about who's the best quarterback. No, we're talking about who's the best quarterback. We don't talk about who's the best white quarterback. And again, as I said, in basketball, it has changed because we show that we own that shit. So now they have to say, oh, every conversation, every opportunity they get, every opportunity they get, they bring up Larry Bird. Because outside of Larry Bird, who is white in the top 10? Right? Now they're talking about Jokic. Oh, Jokic is the greatest basketball player ever. The game has changed. The game has changed to facilitate a Jokic. So they're going to try to push him up in the top 10. He has 3 MVP. He would have had 4.
No, I think he have.
Sure,
3. Yeah. Who this, Brass?
But yeah, see, my thing is, Smalls. My thing isn't so much about, because listen, if you're a descendant of enslaved people in North Africa or even the Caribbean, right? But let's just stay with the United States, right? You are under siege. That's just the reality of it. So, in that sense, all of us are compromising to one degree or the other.
Yeah.
Right? So, when I point out certain language that I hear my people use, it isn't so much to point at them and say, hey, you're out of bounds and I'm so much better than you. I'm just trying to ensure that we don't internalize certain things that we believe about ourselves. That's when the issue comes in. All of us, to some degree, got to play the game to one extent or the other, right? But if I'm a black person and I know for certain that there was a guy doing the same brand of comedy that Richard Pryor was doing and that Red Fox was doing in the 50s and 60s, right? And I say, okay, but it wasn't a genre then. It became a genre when pop culture certified it. That shows that there's a psychological issue there, right? You're saying that our cosign as a people isn't enough to make something legitimate, to make something a thing. We can't name things of our own. It's almost like saying, they say what jazz came out of the church, right? I believe that's how it goes. Gospel first, jazz, then blues, right?
Right.
Well before there was ever a recording contract or before these white companies became interested and actually blew these people up. Because let's be honest, without their money, because they're the ones that are in power, that's just the reality of the situation. So if you want national or worldwide acclaim, you're gonna need their backing to get to that level, right? Because they control the media, and more importantly than anything else is they control the distribution of the music. That's the biggest key, right? So if you want to be on a national level, you're gonna have to play ball for the most part, right? We get that, but nobody would say that Fats Domino wasn't a paragon of R&B, or it wasn't a genre in his time, you know what I mean, until Motown. No, R&B.
Let me get you.
But wait, I want you to answer this because I gotta literally work on the car and I'm gonna be making noise, so I gotta go on mute. But I want to ask you this before I do. So if I'm telling you that I recognize everything that you say, and I know it was there before, right? All I'm saying is, if these motherfuckers are in power and they finally recognized it, how am I coon for saying when they recognize it? And I just want to ask you that question. And I'm just using myself as an example. And I'm going to go on mute.
See, I wouldn't even call that cooning, because to Logic's point, I don't think something like that is all that egregious, right? And I think most of the time when the people who do things like that, they're kind of oblivious to it. We all are to a degree, like the example I gave about myself, saying that Haitian Creole wasn't quote unquote real French, right? You don't even notice that you're doing it, because it's just it's just so much a part of just regular, you know what I mean? Because you're acculturated in this system. We all are. So you know what I mean? It's just natural. So my thing is, if the person is simply saying that,
y'all let me talk.
Who's that?
No, it was Tony was about to jump in, but I got to say something after you.
Oh no, I was gonna wrap it up by saying, if you know of the existence of people who are doing a thing before it went mainstream, right? Then to me, you saying that this thing wasn't a genre before the mainstream certified it, to me, that's indicative of a psychosis. And that's all I'm pointing out. And it's the psychosis that all of us have. I'm not pointing it out to act like I'm better than nobody, or to say to another brother that, hey, you a coon, or none of that. I'm just pointing it out and putting the spotlight on it, like, bro, you might want to reassess that. Think about what you're saying and how that sounds. We know we got to play ball, but we don't have to internalize that bullshit. To me, when you do that, if you're saying that a thing isn't a genre until the mainstream certifies it, then at that point, you're now internalizing your inferiority. Yes, we are in an inferior position. There's no doubt about it. But when you say things like that, now you're internalizing the inferiority, and you kind of believe in it within your heart and soul. And I'm just putting that light to it, like, hey, bro, look what you're doing. Like, think about it. Like, that sound kind of crazy. So that's where I'm at with it.
And I get that, but what if I'm saying
I like
it
what
was
you're
a
saying
genre,
right there.
and I recognize that it was.
Black
Go
people
ahead,
also
Lars.
part of that mainstream validation? Aren't we also
Can I say
part of
something?
that?
I'm the only one trying not to just butt in and saying, "Can I say something?" So like you gotta flush that completely out, because we also accept the labels too. You can't become a doctor without somebody else's acknowledgement, right? I'm not gonna acknowledge Dr. Inky as no goddamn doctor just because he one of us. You get what I'm saying? I'm not about to do that. So it doesn't necessarily work like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not.
I don't even think it was.
I mean, I think it sounds good, and I don't think that you're actually being oversensitive. But I think that you might be making it egregious when it's just like a part of our reality. And so,
Let Logic finish, please.
Logic. Let me say this. Logic.
Music, and it appealed to a broader audience. They didn't, and that's what it was. They weren't cooning or switching or none of that stupid shit. You're taking so much credit away from some people that you don't even know what you're doing.
Thank you. No, Logic, you mentioned about a doctor. No, a doctor is different than that, because if you do all the steps, if you get educated, if you pass all the tests, if you overcome all the obstacles necessary for you to be called a doctor.
Appeal for an audience. You guys are just
Hey, Tony, let's do please finish. Just wait till he's done.
Yeah, you mentioned a doctor. If there are steps to become a doctor, because when you're recognizing a doctor based on whether or not these people do these steps. So you cannot use a doctor to compare it with a comedian, because unlike a comedian, there's only one way to become a doctor: through education. A comedian can be a hit the first day, one can hold 100 days. But if he does all the steps,
don't think it one to one.
Look what's happening now.
I'm
There's a
saying that it
senator now.
requires That's the point I'm making. You to become a doctor, you would need to be acknowledged by other people. So I'm just emphasizing on it's not that egregious, right? For the acknowledgement to actually fit. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that we can't acknowledge our success.
No, but then
before it was mainstream, but I mean to I guess like when it becomes mainstream now, let's you know what I'm saying?
Logic.
It just doesn't seem to be beneficial.
Logic. The difference is that you're not recognizing that. I want to become a doctor. You didn't put me in that lane. I put myself in that lane. But when the consensus took everybody who they perceive to look a particular way, in a particular lane, is that you had no choice. The decision was up to external factors. To becoming a doctor is a decision I make to go into the doctor lane. To become a lawyer is a decision you make to go in the lawyer lane. Nobody made that decision for you. But when somebody made that decision for you, what they're actually doing is taking away your power. I'm not waiting on you to acknowledge me. I was already me 2,000 generations ago. In West Africa, I was already me. So how come now you, who all of a sudden just encounter me in the last 400 years, trying to decide who I am?
Right. So when we was in Africa, were we doctors or were we think we were doctors?
It don't matter. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. No, it don't matter. Because guess what? When we have autonomy over ourselves, we could have decided who and what we are. So you cannot use other people's measuring stick.
Not about to get sick and go backwards, bro. You're gonna get sick and go find a mainstream doctor.
Logic, you're doing what you do. You know what you're doing? Are you don't even realize what you're doing? You're minimizing yourself based on external factor. Oscar just discussed this. You're minimizing yourself and you don't even recognize that you're minimizing yourself. You're minimizing your people.
What's the issue with mainstream validation in the first place? Like, I just want to get caught up a little bit. Like, what's the issue behind mainstream validation?
No, mainstream. When we use the word mainstream and pop, we know that we're talking about the majority of people within a country or within a culture. So when we talk about mainstream in America, we're talking about white people. Do you agree or disagree?
I think it's yeah. In America, I can see that, but it's also both. I think you have black people are also a part of that validation.
No, I'm not talking about validation. We're not talking about validation. No, we're talking about mainstream.
We're talking about the audience, but mainstream audience is considered an all-white audience, is what you're saying.
Right. So therefore, when mainstream decide that you are a genre, so if mainstream decide that, oh, this is black comedy, and you didn't become black comedy until mainstream decided you're a black comedy, is that what you have done now is allow them to define you. So mainstream, you allow white people to define you, or pop culture, you allow white people to define you. Right, that's all I'm saying.
It comes from Black Americans. Are we upset with the terminology Black American as well? Because I mean that's just a description.
That's what I'm saying. We allow them to define.
I don't understand the right.
No, let me have the conversation. Thank you. I am not. I have no problem with the term Black American. I have no problem with the term Black American. If we gave ourselves the moniker Black American, right? Or
we
African
never called
American.
ourselves black, according to what I'm saying.
No, we popularized calling ourselves black because before that we were being called Negro and colored. But black people decided, listen, we are going with the term black because if we go back before in the 1800s, we weren't being called black.
No.
And now we were being called colored or Negro. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, we had conferences named after those words. So yeah.
Right. So in the last 50 years, we as a collective, and I'm saying we, because even in Jamaica we adopted the term black. So we did not allow the popular to define who we were. We chose that definition for ourselves. Would you agree with me or disagree with me on that?
I think we accepted it. I don't know if we particularly chose it though.
If we weren't being called it in mass, we chose it. We chose it. And then we accepted it. Right?
I mean, does Negro not translate to black? But I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yes, it's true that Negro translate to black, but we use this specific word. We could have used any other word, but we choose this word. Now, the problem that I have with popular culture, putting it in a lane or a box, is that it then defines you. You allow them to define you. When they put it in a lane or in a box. So therefore, when you act outside of that box that they put you in and that level of expectation they have for you, because now they put you in this lane. So your expectations of you is determined by that lane. So when black comedians don't act traditionally black comedian-ish, Wayne Brady and this new young dude, people start to look at them funny, not recognizing that because we were put in a box, or when black quarterbacks become greater than white quarterbacks, it become an issue because it was not expected because of the lane that we were placed in. That is my issue with it. You see, you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked by limitations that get set on us. We've been dealing with that for the inception of fucking America. Right. I mean, that's not an uncommon thing that we'd experience. It's pretty common.
Yes, but that is it. But then when we begin to accept it, to realize that the reason why they always put a prefix in front of our.
Can't you expect that somewhat from a people that's been somewhat oppressed? They kind of usually like it's a rarity that you get someone that's from an oppressed population that rises up and becomes this, this person that's like, revered. It's like those are rarities. Most people just kind of go along and just be like, all right, it's risky for me to speak out or to be anything other than this. Like it becomes a risk at that point. So it's not shocking when people kind of be like, all right, I'm cool. I'm just gonna go about my life as is. I don't see that shocking neither. It's actually quite common as well. Hello, are you cut off?
Corey, if you talking, you gotta leave out and come back in. Your shit lit up, but your shit's still on mute.
No, I mean, I guess my bigger point is we accept the labels in all sorts of other areas, right? And I think there's a bit of just like maybe uncomfortable reality, and we do accept what mainstream calls a doctor and reject what mainstream does not. Like they in a lot of ways they do set parameters.
I think that's a fucked up analogy to use though. I think that's a fucked up.
It might be. It's not a good 1-for-1, but I think
because there's credence to being a doctor and there's other shit.
We're talking about recognition and art form.
Art,
right?
Yeah.
The artists are doing the shit that just because white people don't acknowledge it, don't mean that those artists don't exist and that they created their own genre and lane. The artists did that. Not the critics or the ones who deemed it or recognized it as a genre of art. The artists did that. The artists of the Harlem Renaissance was the ones who created that art, not the people who called it the Harlem Renaissance. You dig what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
I feel you. I feel you. So maybe it is a bad example, but when I think of the witch doctor, I feel like I see something similar. Maybe not a 1-to-1, but I feel like the witch doctor think he a doctor. His village think he a doctor. You feel me?
What?
That's
yeah, that's crazy.
Where did I mess that up?
I don't know about that logic, but I know what you're trying to arrive. I see what you're trying to get at, but I think your analogies are just a little.
But see, even that.
Tell me how.
That,
where am I messing?
Even all right. So let me tell you, even that belies an inherent type of bias that's kind of been programmed into us, right? Because if you think about it, let's think about let's say about 100 years ago, when American and Western medicine was practicing things like lobotomies and bloodletting, right? They believe you could just release blood out of people and that would get rid of evil spirits and they would heal.
Killed George Washington that way.
Yeah, that wasn't a long time ago, right? But they don't label that as witch. They don't call that being a witch doctor.
And the witch doctor thought that was crazy. The witch doctor knew that was wrong. The witch doctor and that was saying, "No, you don't supposed to do that."
You so do all that. Rub some aloe vera on it.
So a lot of things that we look at, right, and we think they're so advanced in, even in the annals of virology. Virology is some made up shit. The virus jumps from an animal into a human being, and then it hijacks the functions of a cell, and it's all superstition. Nobody could demonstrate it.
That's not superstition.
Is zoonotic transfer? You saying we don't have no evidence of zoonotic transfer?
Hey, Chef. I had y'all. No, wait, hold on. Listen what I'm saying. I had y'all on my side with the lobotomy and the bloodletting, so I had to work my own. I had to get my shit in there.
I feel you. Me not do that.
Hey, move out the way, man. Let Haskell do his thing right quick.
I had to get it in there, bro.
That was smooth.
Yeah, you was dribbling. He was dribbling. He was in his bag.
He was hezzy, tween, hezzy, tween.
He got plucked half court. Nigga dropped 8 straight points and got plucked half court.
8 straight points, boy.
But you see, y'all. Yeah, but look at that demonstration. You see how we was walking with him till he fucked up. You feel me?
Yeah.
In the moment he fucked up, just because I agreed with the first 60% of what he said, I drew a hard line, and I don't know why.
I don't know about that part.
I don't know why niggas don't think that they supposed to do that in this motherfucker. When the niggas start fucking up, yo, you fucking up.
Hey, but look, it's only hindsight that made us realize that bloodletting shit and the lobotomy shit was crazy, right? Some of us just got exceptional foresight. You know what I mean? Most people don't see things in the time that it's happening, but in 50 to 100 years, they're gonna be looking at that virology shit the same way. Trust me. Look, time will vindicate me. You'll see it.
Hey, listen. This is what I'm saying. He went for the doctor. He went for the doctor argument. But let's look at it. When the Africans in Africa met the Europeans from Europe, who had more advanced medicine, open and close quotation, the life expectancy of the European was far less. With his scientific approach, with his leeching, with his bloodletting, with his
lobotomies and all that crazy shit.
And all of that crazy shit. Because people don't realize that modern medicine didn't really particularly advance until after World War I. So if you look at medicine before World War I, it was pure quackery. It was pure quackery, right? Because they didn't really invent antibiotics. The medicine there, they didn't know how to treat blood pressure, right? Plague was still an issue. Polio was still an issue. The life expectancy was not strong, right? No, that is what. But he ran for. Oh, who you going to the doctor? Yeah, you can go to the doctor today because medicine have advanced leaps and bounds over the last 100 years.
Maybe about 100 years or so.
Yeah, but it's also other things that went right beside medical advancement, like sanitation, all those different things helped.
Right. Yeah, and sanitation also, because horse shit was was up to the step in New York City
with rats and all type of wild shit. It was
Let me
crazy.
tell you, the biggest advance that Western medicine made is in the annals of surgery. Like when it comes to physical, you know, you have you know, you need a limb like repaired or doing surgery and shit like that. You know, that's where they really made advancements. But in terms of like when you talk about sicknesses like the flu and like the plague and shit like that, what we talking about, most of that shit is like y'all saying, it came from just motherfuckers that's cleaning
water, all type of shit
like stop drinking
water.
shitty water and that's
no. I'm just referring to logic point. No, I agree that many things. I used to be a public health inspector, so I'll agree with you. I agree that, listen, when you look at what's happening though, when people draw reference to Western society as it is today, they don't compare it to as it was when the Africans met the Europeans. They never compare it to that. When the Indians met the Europeans, there was no bathing people who bathed once a month. You understand?
That was royalties who would bathe once a month. That was the royals, though. That wasn't just everybody. That was royalties.
That was everybody. It was everybody. It trickled all the way down.
No, Stupies, I think you missed what Seth is saying. He's saying that the non-royals bathe even less frequently.
Yes. I agree with you on that. They bathe even less frequently. People went years without bathing.
They didn't even change clothes. They used to have rats.
I think that's a myth.
It's not a myth. It's not a myth.
They found diaries of queens who had to give themselves monthly reminders to bathe and shit. Like, I don't know if that's a myth.
Shit.
I'm saying y'all over exaggerating.
Okay, well, all right.
Calls, and every time I come back, the conversation gets wilder. What the fuck is happening?
And then that, I think that's y'all fucking that up. But good, continue.
Let me continue. All right. Listen, hygiene, because in London, and I learned this in public health school, they were just emptying the shit pills in the streets.
Feces right in the street.
In the streets.
That's not an exaggeration. That was the norm.
That was a norm.
That's what led to the plagues.
Yeah, and there was no indoor plumbing and nothing like that.
Yeah, that's no exaggeration, Chef.
So when they met the Africans had more space, more land. Their hygienes were totally different. Their customs were totally different, because many of the customs still exist today, and we don't see them doing that. We don't see them shitting where they eat. But people love to tell their friends.
They'll show those remote. They'll show those remote tribes doing crazy shit. They love to show that.
But they don't sit where they eat. That's what I'm talking about.
Probably not.
And how the fuck did y'all get here? What's going on?
No, because somebody draw a reference. Somebody draw a reference to if you wanted to see a doctor, and it was an unfair reference because they're looking at the doctor as it is today in 2025, and not looking at the doctor as it was when the Africans met the Europeans. Because you go to the doctor.
And to be fair to Logic, what he was getting at is, to be a doctor in American society, you're gonna need a certification of their institutions, right? Because ultimately, is their institutions that they created.
Right, but you chose the lane. But my argument is that that they didn't choose the lane for you. You chose the lane of doctor for yourself.
Oh, I heard that part of the conversation. I see.
Right, that's what you say. Okay. So when people say, "Oh, well, I'm not speaking bad of certification. I'm speaking bad of individual anatomy."
His point, Soupies, is that you're not a doctor until their institution certifies you.
Yeah, but you chose to be a doctor. So you chose to be a doctor, so you understand what the necessary requirement is to be a doctor. So you know that they would need.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for Logic right now. In the same way, you chose to be a comedian or a singer, but likewise, you're not certified until their institutions, which is their record labels and their media, say certify you. Right. Same way how their institution certify you being a doctor. That's what Logic is getting at.
Okay, all right.
Okay. But even if you look at other groups, like for example, if you step out the arena of college, university institutions of being accredited and certified and this, that, and the third. Even if you look at the early systems, let's just say the quote unquote witch doctor, right? He had to have, or she had to have credentials in order to
trained.
be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always been a system.
It's propaganda. That witch doctor shit is propaganda.
But Cuban, don't even go down that path.
No. The point I'm getting at is that Inky.
Who that psycho?
Inky's not a motherfucker. Inky's not a doctor. Inky's not a fucking doctor. Inky is a ex-Porkian who then became a fucking member of True Covenant, another fucking Porkian sect.
Mm-hmm.
So these people like that, come on. Would you really trust yourself going to fucking Inky and anybody in the
Of course not.
And fuck
of course
him.
not.
So,
but Cuban, let's get the conversation back on track. Though.
Yeah,
so
it's on track.
And I get what you're saying. You are on track. You are on track. But what I'm saying though is, the
point I'm getting at is, in order to, when people make claims of saying that there has to be some types of rites of passage, there has to be some type of initiation, there has to be some types of graduate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just universal. That's prior to white people.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
But what logic was implying though is, and it's not his fault because we were all taught the same, is that the things that you're pointing out, like in Western Central Africa, of course they had their own institutions, right? They had their herbologists. It wasn't just, a bone through the nose and dancing around fire like on the cartoons, right? That shit is propaganda. But from what I hear from Logic, I don't want to speak from him. Just what I'm gleaning from how he's communicating it is that in Western Central Africa, prior to colonization or prior to the arrival of Europeans, it wasn't nothing that we would consider doctors, or it wasn't standardized. There weren't institutions. It was just some ooga booga niggas with bones in their nose dancing around fires. He probably won't come out and admit that, but that's what he's getting at. And he's saying basically, would you consider that being a doctor? You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying not to say it like that, but just because the rest of the community recognizes them as a doctor, you're not about to give me your receipt next time you go see them.
because I'll give you something simple. A babalao is not a doctor. A santero and a palero and a voodoo priest is not a doctor. But what they are is a specialist that is initiated in that system of what they deal with, and to a degree, especially like a babalao, to a degree, there's psychology involved. But you're not a doctor. Because let me tell you something, a good babalao, a good santero, if you go to them and you say, oh, whatever, they're going to say, have you gone to a therapist? Have you gone to a psychiatrist? Have you sought something of medical before they start resorting to something saying, oh, this is a spiritual thing? So secular knowledge, something of psychology, psychiatry is not omitted. That's not you don't skip that and just say, oh my God, it's these spirits, or no, maybe you have a problem. Maybe the problem you going through, you don't need spiritual help. Maybe you just need to fucking face it that the woman don't want to be with you. It's not,
well, he's talking about, I think Logic is talking about like physical illness.
Medical logic is talking about. Yeah. But let me put this real back on the track. What I'm talking about is acknowledgement and recognition. That was my original thing.
Yeah.
Is that it was about acknowledgement and recognition and accolades. That many persons believe that, listen, how no black person has been nominated for the Grammy last year. They must be racist. No, it's a white organization primarily. The Actors Guild, over 100 of years since moving, was primarily white people. and they tend to vote white along the lines. Apart from when it was the woman in Gone with the Wind, and Cindy Poitier might have won for Lily of the Valleys, but it was primarily white people. But you know, seek recognition and accolades from white people to verify who you are. That was my original issue. That is my original issue.
I was at that we accept. We accept that acknowledgement in so many other areas. Why this particular one is a hang up is what I'm really talking about. So yeah, I'm walking right there with you, Stupid.
Not only that, Logic. Wait, Stupies. Wait. Just wait 1 second. We are with you, but here goes the other thing. If we're saying that we know that we were doing the good acting and we know that we were doing the good comedy, we even know so much that they stole from us. We're just saying, hey, look, this is when they finally fucking recognized it. That's it.
That's not all that they were saying, though.
That's not what I'm saying. And let me rebut that. Let me rebut that too. In the arena of scientists, there's no such thing as black scientists. We have to search and realize that they're black. When these scientists make their accomplishment, and we have hundreds of accomplishments made by black scientists, yet still they were never put in the lane of black scientists. Disprove me on that. Disprove me on 100%.
That. No, we
had to search and find that they are black scientists. So in some arenas where they want full autonomy and control, they put you in a lane. Find black engineers. But we know that black people created so much patterns but we had to search for them and then put them in the black lane to show our children that we have black scientists. But there's no lane for black scientists. So
this is where you got me conflicted, because I agree with you 100%. This is where you got me conflicted, because we talked about the lane, and you're right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. So therefore, they lane us up when they want to limit what we can do. So they lane us up. So they put us in a lane in order to create barriers in which we have to conform to. But when they need us to do something to the things that is without barriers, there's no such thing as black engineer or black scientist. We have to find that for ourselves. You have to search them out and realize, oh, those ladies were black. Them never talk about the black mathematician and NASA. We had to find that out. That these computers, these living, walking computers who accomplished great things were black. They never mentioned them as black that. So why now you go and limit yourself to say, were their accomplishment any less? No. But them don't limit them.
So Logic and Haskell, can you understand why I'm a little conflicted? Because Stupies and I had this conversation last night. And I can't argue with what he's saying, but I also can't to say, hey, look, this is when we were finally getting acknowledged. To put us a time, I'm conflicted with that. Like, what am I supposed to do with that, Stupies? That's my only thing.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, you go.
I understand the need for the political and cultural shield. Where we shield ourselves from some of the discomforts and truths of America. Like, get it. I just don't understand what you're shielding yourself from right now. Like the fact that you can acknowledge that the fact that you understand that it takes acknowledgement in all sorts of other areas of life. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get away from the comedian conversation and all sorts of other parameters that have been set for us that we actually adhere to. Like, I don't know what you're defending yourself from in this. Oh, I'm gonna just hunker down in this one. I don't get it.
Let me tell you what I'm defending myself.
But then again, though, Logic, you can't take the comedy out of it because we're talking about black comedy versus white comedy, though.
All right. This is about.
So
this is
what
not comedy.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I'm defending myself as. Is that the moniker of blackness is not used as a compliment. It is used as a shackle. It is when they use it. When you, and I said this earlier one day to Brass, and I think Brass gets it.
Okay.
When a white person say black man and man, that's two total different things than when a black person say black man and man. Because when a white person defining a male of their own ethnic group, it's a man. When a black person, he says man also. But when a white person says black man, what it does is limit the expectation of that individual when they use it. So when they say, oh, he's a black man. Oh, I have somebody, he'd be good for the job, you know. However, he's a black man. That's what they do. And when you don't recognize that that's what they're doing, he's a black comedian. But he's better than every comedian in the world. He should be the measurement under which comedians are assessed. Why is it that you have to insist that he's a black comedian?
Logic, you really listen now because this is where I'm conflicted.
I'm listening to what he says, and Haskell actually killed it earlier. Like the problem is about internalizing it. I don't internalize it the way they internalize it. I'm not having that problem. I am not having no issue with recognizing that when America decided to acknowledge the genre of comedy, that there were already black comedians out there, Red Fox and all them, like all them boys out there already doing that, probably for 10 plus years. I don't have no problem admitting that, but to me, I don't see that as being a diminishment to Red Fox. I just see that as being part of the dichotomy. Like I'm just describing what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm just trying to figure out like what would I be shielding myself from? Because I can admit that and not internalize it the way white people. I don't have a problem with that. So maybe I'm struggling to see if you're having a problem with it, or I might be thinking too much into it past that. But I certainly can understand that, black people, they had black stand-up comedians on the Chitlin Circuit or off it, however you want to get into the particulars of it. And that was before the comedy genre went mainstream. I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with it, understanding that in order for it to go mainstream, it would have taken the acknowledgement of the population. No problem. Whatever. Again, that doesn't mean I gotta internalize it as, oh, they weren't good enough or some shit. I'm not saying that. That's I guess that's what I'm more talking about, Smalls. Like because it sounds as if he's and I don't want to speak for him. I really want to know. Like he tried to explain it just now, and most of what I got from it is that when basically white people are constantly in the cycle, and I would say, okay, no disagreement. Now, with that being said, the genre still started in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? The genre still started in the 70s. Red Fox was still doing stand-up comedy in the 60s. Like all of that shit's still true. I didn't internalize it. I'm just dealing with the dichotomy of kids.
No, but Logic, you have internalized it. And let me tell you why. Even the last statement you make show me that you have internalized it. Because you're willing to accept that the genre did start in the 70s. When we realized that people were doing it long before the 70s. So the genre could not have started in the 70s. That is why I got back to say, when did it start? But you now internalize it and is agreeing with the status quo that was created by white people, that the genre was created in the 70s. So the mere fact that you said that is an indication that you internalized it. You might not see it that way.
I didn't. I really didn't. because you could tell me it started in the 30s, and I wouldn't disagree with you, bro. Like, you said
but it was your last
1800s.
But it was your last statement. If it exists,
I mean, it was my last statement, and I said it out of ignorance. I'll give y'all all of that. I don't know. I didn't look up when the genre of comedy started. It wasn't on the forefront of my frontal lobe. I'm just saying that if that be the case, I still can internalize it how I want to, and I don't have to accept what mainstream. I don't have to do none of that.
No, but then you didn't internalize it how you, because you repeated what mainstream said. So you internalize it based on how they defined it. And that's the issue.
Right.
That's the issue that I have.
What I'm saying, you going too far too, right? Because we do that all over the place.
What would make
the factory is you did not describe a witch doctor.
Logic, what would make it a genre? Can we let's see if we can figure this out.
I don't know. I don't even take a guess.
Exactly. So you agreeing to something without even knowing the parameters to what you agreeing to. That don't make sense.
No, because however it becomes.
No, that don't work like that, bro. That don't work like that.
I'm about to tell you why. You can tell me how it becomes a genre, and I'm gonna tell you however it becomes a genre. That shit's still true. Right? I don't have to internalize it. I don't have to miss the message. I don't have to diminish.
That don't even make sense.
I don't have to do none of that.
You might not. So you saying you would agree with it no matter what they say?
Right.
No, I'm talking about stew peas. I'm talking about if stew peas tell me that.
He's talking about, man, I can't do this.
If he said it started in the 1800s, I'd be like, all right, stew peas. Okay.
The issue that I have,
my point yesterday was I didn't understand what made it egregious. The mainstream stuff, right? So he explained that they were trying to slight us. Cool.
Okay, logic. Go ahead. Logic. Let's make sure that we're on the same track. When I say mainstream, what it means to you? What the word mainstream mean to you?
It means it became I guess a part of the larger population, right? They started putting it on records, putting it in the stores, that kind of shit. That's what I'm thinking.
What does that mean? What the larger population mean? Let's break it down. What larger population mean?
Yeah, I'm at work, so you go and tell me.
Logic, who's the larger population?
Yeah, work. He can't say the white man.
I'm at work, bro.
Go ahead to the white man, bro. Read in between the lines, please.
That work. So understand. So when we use the term mainstream and popular culture, those are two terms that we have to define. At the core, they mean white. They don't mean anything else. White. When somebody says, I'm going mainstream, I'm going white. I'm going to capitulate to the larger population. I'm going to capitulate to white people. That's what it means. No, if you allow mainstream or white people, you have to decode the language when you read to determine who you are, and when you became who you are, you have a problem as a black person. That's the crux of the argument. That's a problem that I have in the argument, is that you no longer have self-determination. And a man without self-determination is a slave, because he decided.
That's not what I'm saying, though. I said Red Foxman could have been doing comedy for 10, 15 years. Yeah, I said that.
I am saying. That's what I am saying. Are you disagreeing with what I'm saying?
No.
That's what I was always saying. So now that you know what I am saying.
I didn't hear you yesterday.
No, that's the question. Now that you know what I am saying, are you disagreeing with what I am saying?
I don't disagree. I'm more trying to figure out why you consider that so egregious. When on the backdrop, we accept those acknowledgments in so many other areas. That's what I am saying.
But that's not the crux of the argument. What you're trying to do now is to minimize.
Just explain that you were talking about acknowledgement earlier.
No. What you're trying to do now is to minimize me because I don't want white people to determine who I am by saying, but, however, why are you complaining about this when we accept it in so many areas? And then you brought up doctors. And I'm saying that even then, they do not distinguish primarily with doctors or scientists. They don't. So they determine how you perceive yourself at so many different levels that you're unaware that you're making who you are or what you are or when you became who you are based upon their definition. That's the issue I have with it. Now, if you're disagreeing with that, I need to know why. But we agree with it on so many other things. That's a fallacy argument.
I don't disagree with it, but I'm saying if you agree with it, then you acknowledging that they do it in all sorts of other areas. So I'm figuring out like hunkering down on comedy doesn't exclude that they still dominate all these other areas.
Because comedy was the one that we spoke about yesterday. And comedy was the one that a black person brought to the forefront. That was why that's why we addressed the issue of comedy. Well, if it was something else, we'd have addressed it the same way. Because it works. It works for many.
What made it worth addressing, right, is that you were talking about, so you need this acknowledgement to be something.
And
right?
again,
and then I said, so why is that so egregious when we accept that acknowledgement in all sorts of other areas? Like you reclaiming comedy does not stop them from dominating those other areas. It doesn't.
Again, logic. You don't understand my premise. And every time you open your mouth to speak, you don't understand it. My premise is that I am not allowing other people to define me. That's the original premise. If you look at that premise and you realize that, what he's saying is in fact true, that mainstream and pop culture should not define the black man. The black man should be allowed to define himself. But then you are now twisting it and saying, but the black man allows himself to be defined in other areas, which is a bad argument. It's almost a coonish argument. It's a dangerous argument to make. However, is a but argument you're making now. But why are you complaining? You allow him to rape your wife, so why should you complain if he tries to rape your daughter? That's the argument you're making. Well, we shouldn't complain, or we shouldn't try to self-identify, or we shouldn't try to be all that we can be and define ourselves. We should allow other people to define us.
Identify, but I also want us to be able to deal with the facts too. And for me, like acknowledging the fact that they do dominate in a lot of spaces, that's just acknowledging the facts. I don't have no other way to see it, stupid. If I gotta be a coon to be like in reality into some sort, well, fuck it. I am not that attached to what you think of me. You know what I'm saying? If that's just be the case.
So basically, you're saying to me then, I am not attached to my name. That's what you're saying, you know. My mother gave me this name, and my father gave me this name, but I'm not attached to this name because
I didn't say that.
No. That's what. No. Let me use my knowledge. That's what you're saying. You said your forefather determined who you are. And then you say to yourself, I am not going to determine. That's why Malcolm left the name and got the name Shabazz, you know. Because it's a name that was never given to him. It's not a name that he chose for himself. That's what he was trying to tell black people. That identify yourself, know who you are, and choose to be who you are. Don't let another culture determine who you are. But we say we know Malcolm and we don't know anything what he's saying. We can't put it in relevance because if you lose the right to self-determine, they can determine who you are at any time. That's the dangers of the comedy. And we just use comedy as an example. We use comedy as an example because there's one time in the past, in history, they determined that you were not a man. And you knew that you were a man. But because they had the gun and the power and the majority, didn't stop us from rebelling until we showed them that we were men also.
All right, stop, Stupides. Stop, Stupides. You did enough. I can't take it. Yo, y'all better stop letting these Jamaicans beat on y'all like this.
Man.
Like if y'all if y'all don't start,
he's just talking too long.
Bumblecard.
He's just talking for a long time. I don't agree with that.
No, he's making perfectly good sense.
Hey, Chef, why you don't? Hey, Chef, why don't you do surgery, Chef?
No, he's summing up the whole conversation, and y'all nitpicking around.
Why don't you do surgery?
Bringing it full circle, and you back to another analogy.
Nah, he trying to tell me.
Oh my God!
No. He trying to tell me that I'm giving up all of my autonomy, right? That he's making this particular argument about what I'm giving up, and I'm saying I'm not giving up anyway. I'm just acknowledging what things are.
Because I know it
giving up anything. So I'm gonna ask you, Chef, why don't you do surgery no more? Why barbers don't do surgery, Chef?
They used to. And I did a whole breakdown on that. Because
can you just give me the simple answer?
They separated the profession.
Who is they?
The licensing board.
Who is they?
The licensing board.
I got you, right? So I heard what you said, and again, I'm saying that again they dominate in all these other areas.
The licensing board. Hold on.
Right, and I'm saying that they dominate all these other areas, and they set the parameters on what a barber is and what kind of stuff he can use, and all this other shit, and we accept it. We just accept it
because I know it ain't but push
the licensing board.
The licensing board. Now continue. As long as we on the
page. When you go see the witch doctor, dog, just keep the receipt. I won't see that.
You wanted me to say the white man.
I just want to see the receipt for the witch doctor.
Chef, even that argument is a weak argument because at the time when they separated the red, the blue, and the white, because doctors used to do, barbers used to do bloodletting, that's why it has the red. The white was for the dental that they used to do. Barbers used to be dentists, right? And the blue was about
reclaim your autonomy, Chef. And
no. The time when they made that decision, the majority of barbers worldwide were white barbers. That had barber stations and barber shops, like what we think about it. That was formal. But that argument is a weak argument also. Logic, stop reaching out, stop grabbing for straws. You're drawing in logic.
No,
you're
Chef,
drawing
don't listen to stupid. Go get you a scalpel and turn up. Oh, don't listen to the licensing board. Claim your autonomy, bro. Them people ain't got no power over you, guys.
Hey, so let me answer the question in the vein I believe Logic is asking the question, right? So anytime you look into establish agency as a people, you never start with a complex, right? Just like any society, the first thing you're gonna need is access to clean water and food, right? Those are things that are immediate, and then from there you build upward and outward, right? So something like engineering, for example, having building codes, right? The barrier, or being an engineer, being a doctor, right? The barrier of entry for those things are a lot more stringent than being like a cook or a singer or a comedian, right? So what you do, so because you don't have agency in the things that are more complex and have a higher threshold in terms of barrier of entry, you don't then disavow your agencies in all facets. You claim agency in those that are most immediate, that are nearest to you, that you can do right away. And then from there on, you build to eventually claim agency in those other areas. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's a satisfactory answer. Let me know what you think.
Listen, but guess what? But although you claim agency, you never deny what and who you are. And you never let people shackle you into mentally shackle you into a state that you know that you are bigger than. So although we recognize that we do not have the power in certain arenas as we should, we don't stop from dreaming. Right? We don't stop from dreaming because we dream to our children. We recognize that they say that black men couldn't be college educated. And when you say black originally, 200 years ago, you weren't talking about an educated man. But no, they cannot say
what
black.
happened to Logic, though? Where did he
I
go?
don't
Is he
know.
still on here?
I don't know. But you think, you understand what I'm saying, Askel? You don't let people define you. And you don't let them use black as a shackle. Because that's what white people do when they say black. They're trying to use it as a shackle. Anybody who don't recognize that, when black people use it, it's different. But when white people use it,
I thought it was off of mute. I like what you said, Asper, because you're absolutely right. You gotta use the autonomy that you do have. You get what I'm saying? That might not sit well with everybody, because then you got to talk about some of the autonomy that you actually don't have, right? Like Chef don't got the autonomy to just start doing surgery in his shop and still call himself a barber. He just ain't gonna be able to do it. As much as it sounds good, you could dream all hell and fuck y'all want to. Like that just ain't.
But I'm gonna still be a comedian. I'm gonna still be a comedian, whether who gives me the right to be a comedian.
No, but you get my point about you having to accept some parameters.
No, we don't have to accept parameters in art, bro. That's crazy. They can control.
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yo, can y'all hear me? What up, y'all? Going forward, we're gonna be trying to stream in like Twitch and other platforms like Instagram and all that. So I think y'all doing a great job. I think Stu Peas is mixing up a whole lot of shit that don't go together. And Stu Peas is my man. But I think what Logic is saying is some fields you walk into understanding the criteria. If you're comparing entertainment to the medical field, and in entertainment, most people don't understand the criteria. And then you're comparing times. You're comparing right now where anybody can go on a device and stream whatever they do in artistic manner. Just say you paint, you sing, you dance, whatever, to the globe, possibly. It wasn't always like that. Means of production are important. Means of distribution have always been important. Just like YouTube will allow you to stream to millions of people, thousands, they can also cut you. They can also strike your channel. I'm just using simple examples like right now. You can be on top one day, the most streamed person, and then the next day some shit happened and you're not. So self-definition as just say a music artist. Most people go into that industry, they don't understand contracts, they don't understand publishing, distribution, financial, anything that has to do with that. Because an artist, no, hold on what I'm saying. Again, if you're going there focusing on the art form, what you do, and like someone said earlier, yeah, now hold on, to become popular and mainstream, right? That means you have to be seen or heard, or your art has to be distributed or put in front of these people's faces. Anyone who lived long enough to know a vinyl record to a cassette to a CD to an MP3 to a fucking stream knows the difference. Chef can't like what I'm doing if he don't see it, if he don't hear about it, if he don't know about it. Mainstream was just a mechanism that was owned by the people, obviously the corporations, that could put that in front of everybody's faces. Now, when we say everybody, how does a Tide commercial or Ford, a Chevy commercial end up on? You ain't in the market to buy no car. It's still on your goddamn TV. They're going to put it in front of your face. And unlike now, back then you had very few mechanisms for output. Now you got your phone on, you can have 3 screens running, you got your TV on, you got your computer on, you got all type of shit going. What was the medium back then? Magazine, radio, if you're lucky, vinyl record. Okay, vinyl record where? It still has to get to the DJ on the radio. He has a segment, say it's 4 hours. How do you get your record in that segment of that 4-hour segment? So we're confusing things. You know, going to be a doctor, we all understand school and education. To be an artist, yeah, anybody can be an artist. But how do you get that in front of everyone's space? Now, Stu Pease, let me ask you a question. Say you're an artist and you're an R&B artist. And I say, hey, Stu Pease, in order to get your art in front of more people, you're going to have to change your music a little bit. Now, you got a choice to make. Are you going to stick to your art that you love and like so much and you into? Or do you want it to go to more people, possibly make you more money? Obviously, it's going to make me more money. Now you got a choice to make. What would you do, Stu Pease? You going to keep it real? No, this was Stu Pease. Go ahead, Stu Pease. Chef, okay. I hear you if you said something.
Thank you very much. And I understand which perspective you take it from. You take it from the perspective that the artist wants to be recognized because he's not doing this for fun. He's doing it for making money. And once you want to make money, you have to consider crossing over. Because once you start thinking about making money, you have to say, all right, I must be willing to cross over. I understand what you're taking it from. Right? So therefore, if I have to limit myself to the box they place me in order to cross over, that's what I'm going to do. That's what you're saying. Right?
Okay, define the box though. But go ahead, define the box.
If they want to call it cool music, cool music, because I can make some money, I'm going to allow them to call it cool music. They have no problem performing cool music because it's going to make me some money. That's what you're saying. You might not want to think about it that way. So they can call it anything. They can call it cool music, buffoonery. They can call me watermelon people.
They can call it jitterbug. They can call it disco. They can call it whatever. Now hold on. If it's their box, they can call it what they want. Is that true or false? See, don't just gloss over the box. The box is what we're talking about. They're putting you in a box. You don't have to be in that box. You could say no. Most artists, and you can look it up, most record labels don't make money off of the majority of people they attempt to make money with. It's the few that they do that blow up that keeps these things afloat. Not 10,000 artists a year, all going platinum and all that good. No, it's a few relative to how many people may be signed to their label. So it's the mechanisms of business, a box that already exists that you're coming into. To mass produce your music is a box already, Stu Pease. It's a box. You didn't create the box. Yeah, it doesn't stop what Chef is saying from you being an artist, but if you want your art form, right, to reach the masses, you can take it now, 2025, or you can go back to say 1950s.
Yeah.
If you got to get in the box. So that's up to you as an artist. It doesn't stop you from being a guitar player, a painter, it doesn't stop you from nothing. Museums are the same thing. Well, curated museums, art shows. If you're a graphic artist, things like that, it only is going to benefit you if you're trying to have it benefit you by more people seeing it, getting involved in it, getting exposed to it. When you sign a publishing deal, right? You literally, Breeze, DQ, all these, Fetty probably even know. You give somebody else the rights to your music to go try to make money off.
Yeah.
You sign over your rights. People go, I would never sign over. Okay, well, we can't take it to McDonald's to see if they'll put it in the commercial. We can't take it to see. Go ahead.
You're having a very different conversation. You're having a different conversation than the conversation we've been
No. I'm just trying to move it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So the conversation you're having is the idea of going mainstream and if it's selling out or whatever the case may be. I don't think that's the conversation we've been having. The conversation sparked from this idea that if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise type of thing, right? And the idea being that the boxes, right, or the parameters that we create as a people aren't valid or they don't count.
Oh, so name one parameter. Just name one parameter. Let's just use an example because
in this case it would be comedy, right? So we spoke about, like, yesterday we were talking about Lenny Bruce. So this all started from someone saying that black comedy as a genre didn't come about until the 1980s, right? That's where this all started from. And a couple of people, including me and Chef, objected to that notion, right?
It was the 1980s. The 1980s.
Right, to the 1980s. Now, the people who disagree with us, they countered by saying that were comedians doing comedy or black comedians doing comedy before then, but it was always in the vein of like the minstrel shows or coming right out of the minstrel show tradition in what they call vaudevillian or vaudeville comedy, right? And to which we countered, no, that's not true. The comedy or the demarcation point that they're making for the 80s, which is the irreverent type of comedy, the more comment on social issues being more risque, you know, kind of creating our own lane and having full autonomy and not conforming to the minstrel type, self-deprecating type of thing. Our point was that there were black comedians doing that specific form well before the 1980s. So they counted it wasn't mainstream.
Okay.
So
no, hold on. No. I listened to a lot of it. I'm just trying to bring it right now. And two, also what happens. I'm going to read what the definition of a genre is. A genre is a category of artistic composition as in music or literature, characterized by similarities in form, style, or subject matter. If you have segregation, like you guys are saying, something is obvious. If you have a separate group of people, regardless of the reason why they're separate, part of their culture is going to be, especially here, is going to be arts and entertainment, which comedy falls under that. So that's insane to think it wasn't separate. Now, I think what Stu Pease is saying too, crossing over in mainstream, that's another box. That's the box that I'm adding to it. Is it? Why? Hold on. Different. Now, hold on. Different. Okay.
He missed a lot. You missed a lot. You missed the argument. We're adding to something you don't understand.
Somebody don't want to hear y'all keep repeating your points. Y'all gotta relax.
Let
somebody add to it. Let somebody add to it.
But what's the only
people? You're not the only people in here. You're not the only people listening. I was a listener. If some people want to add to it, or just have a different discussion about it.
Oh,
now hold on. If you keep running back to your corners on stuff that you're not adding to it, you just running back to your corner. This is what I said. This is what he said. What I'm saying is, y'all didn't define genre. You didn't define the box. You yelling out things like popular culture. You know, yelling out. Didn't hold on. No. You yelling out, crossing over. You yelling out, crossing over. No, you didn't know what it was. You yelling out. Whoever yelling out, crossing over. There's many opinions on why and many reasons why people even attempt to do that. Even attempt to do that. Guess where I'm at though, Chef. Guess where I'm at. Guess where I'm at, Chef.
What a genre is.
Chef. Chef. No, they don't. They don't. They don't. Yeah. All right. No, y'all making it sound like they made the genre. You making it sound like they made the genre up.
It's you cut me off though, right? I wasn't finished what I was. I wasn't finished what I was saying, and I'm wondering if I'm even speaking just to blow air, because you just said that we never gave definition to what constituted the genre, when I literally just went into very explicative detail. I said what defined the 80s definition of black comedy was the fact that it was a separate and unique thing from the minstrel show comedy and the comedy that came directly after minstrel show, which is the vaudeville comedy, right? And I gave the characteristics and the markers for what defined the genre in the 80s, which is the irreverent nature of it, right? It was self-deprecating, like how the vaudeville and the minstrel show stuff was, right? It was more commenting on social and political issues, right? And it was more the black comedians taking autonomy and agency. So I went into withering details in defining the genre. And then I followed that up with saying that those specific markers or those specific things that defined that genre were going, Lenny Bruce was doing it in the 50s and 60s. So are you listening to what I'm saying?
Who called it black comedy?
White people.
The white people, mainstream.
Okay. Did black people call it black comedy?
No, they called it comedy.
Oh, no. Oh, black people call what they were doing comedy.
Right.
Okay. White people called it black comedy.
Right.
So white people created the genre of black comedy.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
White people come create the
yeah. See, I got a yes and a no.
Of black folk. Ain't no way black comedy genre is created without black folk.
No.
Maybe in cahoots. I would say in cahoots with white folks, right? Black folks became mainstream.
So is genre a box? Hold on. Is genre can be considered or another word for a box?
When it's word.
That's a simple question.
Okay. Comedy is a genre. Comedy is a genre. Engineer is a genre.
Let him finish, Stoopies. Let him finish.
I'm just asking. Okay. So hold on. We had a yes and a no.
We had a
yes and a no. Sure.
Right? Yeah. No, we had a yes and no. I don't mean with that. I mean the first question was, did black people create black comedy genre? Right?
Y'all been
I think no. We had a yes or no. We had a yes or a no on that. We had a yes and a no.
He wants to make this he wants to make this an argument of semantics. Let him do it.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I keep forgetting. Stop with the he came in here shit. Y'all realize people listen to y'all hours
trying to get caught up.
Stop.
Yeah, he's trying to get caught up.
Chill. Yeah.
No, he's getting caught up by making an argument.
No, I'm not getting caught up. People been listening to you.
Caught up.
Genre be another word for a box.
If I'm going to try to get caught
you
up,
trying to derail shit, but then be quiet. Somebody else. Be quiet then. Then be quiet then. Then be quiet then. It's simple. Then be quiet.
Get caught up and I'm
be quiet. I know you're a barber and y'all like to talk. So do truck drivers. drivers. We both like to talk.
Let's hear him out. Jeffrey, let's hear him out. Because he's going to dig a hole that he can't get himself out of. Continue. Let's hear you out.
This shit, wow.
Yeah, let's hear you out.
Is a box similar to a genre?
Y'all niggas want to talk about
I would say so. Anytime you categorize something, you definitely
no. They're not the
Putting it
same.
in the box.
Oh,
It's a category.
Genre is
All
not
right.
A category is not a box.
Allow me to answer this question. Let me answer your question.
Entertainment.
Let me answer the question. Entertainment is a genre. Within entertainment, oh God,
It's not.
There's different categories within the genre.
Right.
Entertainment would be that box. Inside of those categories.
Did you hear what I just said? There's different categories within a genre.
There's different categories
There's different boxes within a big box.
Right? Within entertainment, you have different categories, right? No, you have comedy, you have singing, you have dancing, you have all of that, right? No, what they did is that they took comedy and they said, listen, we are going to classify certain people within this genre of comedy. So we are going to call what you doing black comedy in the 80s. Although you were doing it long before the 80s. I mainstream is going to determine that that's you. Just like how they took Michael Jackson out of what he was and put him in pop culture. So all of a sudden, Michael Jackson became the king of pop. They took him out of black music.
It was coined in the 80s. Like it was coined, but they had been doing comedy already. Yeah, fine. There you go. See, we can find a happy medium easy. The term was coined. The term was coined in the 80s, but they had already been doing it.
Think about the Venn diagram. This is probably the easiest way to explain.
Simple.
If you imagine the Venn diagram, you know, the thing where you got overlapping circles where you have comedy, then you have the black experience.
Somebody talking over Kyle. Somebody talking over. I can't hear whoever in the background, but Kyle trying to go in. Let me hear you.
Okay, fine, great.
You breaking up?
Somebody was muffled. My bad. I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, let's see where. Can y'all hear me?
I hear you now. Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said that genre is a box, right? We don't need to quibble over that. It's an inconsequential point. Let's just accept it and move on.
But it's not true though. That like
no.
Like you have to build an argument off of a good logical premise. Like if we accept that premise, then the argument.
He wants to rebut that.
But I mean, why is it so hard to accept? If I categorize you as an animal, that means you can't be a plant. You're in a box.
Hold on. Hold on. Let Kyle finish. Go ahead, Kyle.
Kyle, I want to explain something.
No, what I was saying was like what we were talking about, like when we can use simple things like the Venn diagram to explain certain things. Like we can look at like for instance comedy. We put comedy in one circle, then you put Black Americans or Black African Americans in another circle. Then when they overlap, that's where you have the thing called Black comedy that's being brought forth. And what that does, it actually separates and it actually dehumanizes that Black experience of just simply having comedy, and it gives it another brand of comedy. So I kind of reject the fact that people get called Black comedians, even though they are Black, but it removes them from being actual comedians in that box.
Kyle, that's not where we at right now, though. He asked a simple question: is a genre a box? Why are we fighting over that?
But it's not though. A genre is fluid. Genres of music. This is why we're talking about like entertainment.
Wait a minute. Boxes can still be fluid, right? A Venn diagram. Whether you want to call it a box. Hold on.
A box is not fluid because the box limits the contents of that box to stay in that box.
It's a container. Yeah.
And so a genre of music, a genre of entertainment is a fluid term. And so like that's why it's separate words.
Categories do.
But hold on. In the Venn
diagram, things.
In the Venn diagram, there's still borders. So even if there's overlap, let's say in the Venn diagram, we categorize slapstick comedy, right? As its own unique separate thing that has its definitions, right? And it's within the Venn diagram. There are still borders around what is considered slapstick comedy. And you have markers and definitions that define that genre. So it is still a box. It has borders. We arguing over semantics. I want to see where Hits is going with this.
Okay,
so
once you get the box, y'all can see why I fought back about the box word. But go ahead.
Okay, a Venn diagram. Okay, a genre is a category within a Venn, whatever. Go ahead, Hitch. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, y'all need to stop flying past people points too. Like, easy, relax. It's all right. It's okay.
Hitch, I put it
It's all right.
bro. That's what I was doing.
I know. Relax. I think just relax. Goddamn, okay. I was talking to Stu Peace. Now this crossover thing, right? Stu Peace, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. When you say crossover, from the artist standpoint, from the artist, not the people who are, helping them cross over, where they're crossing over to. From the artist standpoint,
Triple A.
what do you mean by
what do I mean? Thank you. Let me answer
just
that.
Put yourself in the artist's eyes.
Okay,
just say
no.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you what crossover is. Crossing over is making yourself more palatable to a larger audience, to the more popular audience. Meaning that if you were in the black audience, if you had a strong black audience, example, The Temptation, and you needed to expand your products to other markets, the white audience, you then now have to become more palatable. You then now have to change your mannerism, your speech, and you now have to act a certain way in order for them to accept you. They did not accept you as you were when you were up. Let me finish.
No, go ahead. I just said I agree. Go ahead.
They did not accept you as you were when you were popular in the in the black community from which you were from. So now you have to adjust who you are for their sake. Am I lying?
Okay, stop right there. Oh, now hold on. Stop right there.
Yeah, because when Lil Wayne
hold on. You just added.
Now hold on.
You just added something right? That you were not accepted. Then before that, you said to a larger, right?
Come on.
To the white audience.
Now, hold on. This is what I'm saying. Hold on. You said a few things.
Let him run it down. You just said it.
Yeah. We ain't gonna fast forward. You said now. Hold on. You said larger. Hold on. Let's just deal with two things.
When I say larger, I mean
let's
white
just deal with
audience.
two things. You're not listening. Just let me.
No, but I need you to
I think he understands what you mean by that.
Stu Peas. Just let me go through it. Crossover, larger audience, not
white
accepted.
White
now
audience.
hold on. This is what you said.
No, I'm fixing my word. I mean white. I didn't know what I mean.
Stu Peas.
I knew what you meant when you said larger audience, though, Stu Peas.
Now, hold on. Okay. Larger audience. Now, if you crossing over, you said because you were, one reason could be because you weren't accepted where you thought your core audience would be. That's
no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't.
Yes, you
didn't
did.
Say that.
Okay.
No, I said that you were accepted by your black.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay,
man,
black.
Okay,
still your core group.
Listen, let me simplify what he's saying. Let me simplify what he's saying.
But hold on. Hold on.
Lil Wayne was not accepted from the white audience, right? When he crossed over, he started skateboarding and playing guitars and shit. But before, when he was saying wobbly, drop it like it hot, them fucking hunkies wasn't paying no attention to the nigga. That's what Stu Peas saying.
Got it. Now, okay. Hold on. We still on crossover, right?
Man, know what we talking about, man. He playing semantics, bro.
Y'all been talking for. Can somebody else talk? Jesus. So crossing over, larger audience automatically should mean too, you're gonna lose your core audience because everyone who crosses over.
Lil Wayne never lost his core audience when he crossed over.
So now y'all talking about individuals.
So
now y'all talking.
We're using him, using the individual as an example. We're talking about crossing over
about us cutting you off, but you not arguing in good faith. You trying to find little crevices to exploit, bro.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
You're not arguing in good faith. You know what people mean, man. You know it.
Well, if there's any consequence, I don't know what stupid means. You know what I'm saying? I definitely know.
How many times
big
guy
said it? So y'all didn't get the Lil Wayne analogy? You didn't get the Lil Wayne analogy.
Okay. I know what he means. I know exactly what he means. I'm just not. I'm not sure. Like,
you know what he means, but you want to play.
I'm trying to figure out what's beneath that. I know exactly what he's saying and what he means. I just don't see a need for what he's saying and what he means. It doesn't follow what he's saying. He's trying to.
You have to kowtow to the audience that you're trying to cross over to. So if Lil Wayne want to expand his audience to the little white boys, to the little skateboard white boys, what he has to do is start skateboarding and playing guitars. If he ain't skateboarding and playing guitars and he's still on the corner talking about wobbly wobbly, drop it like it's hot, the white boys ain't listening to that. So what Stupid's is getting at, what's underlying under that is you gotta do a little soft shoeing. Right. You gotta do a little tap dancing.
Man,
because
Corey, you
guess what happens?
They don't understand exactly what Snoopy's saying. They know exactly what
you understand it, but obviously Logic and his
I'm gonna bring it
down. I'm gonna bring it down even simpler because they want to get to the bottom of what Stu Pease is saying, right? So even me, right? When I want to come, see, it's different if I just want to work on my tools. I can just be the nigga that I'm always is, talking shit and cussing and with my cigar hanging out my mouth, right? But when I want to become the general foreman, I got to dress my language up a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? Now I got to start talking the same. I have to use the language in real life that's actually on the blueprint. So instead of me saying, we call them diamonds in the field. Well, what we going to do is we going to go do them diamonds today. But when I'm in the meeting, I call them column isolations. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they mean by crossing over.
No, okay, so good. You're making some great points, Corey. In your analogy, we are the wrong niggas, though, right? Because in your analogy, right? Remember you said if I want to work for my own car, right? I ain't got to change nothing about me. I can keep cussing and doing whatever the fuck I want to, work on my own shit. The only reason I got to soft shoe
in the field. If I want to be a field in the field working. So like
right, you could just do you. You ain't gotta change shit about you, right?
I can be the raggliest nigga I want to be.
Right, and it's only until you try to appeal to a different audience where you might have to do some motherfucking tiptoeing. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so yesterday, what was said is that there were black comedians that were doing their thing, right? That they was being raggedy as a motherfucker. They was back. They wasn't attempting to be the minstrel entertainment. No, they was being the regular nigga entertainment that we know and love today, right? They was Eddie Murphy before Eddie Murphy, right? So they were still doing that. They didn't play king. And it wasn't until mainstream acknowledged them that you get the label of black comedy, but niggas been doing that shit. That's what I'm saying. I think we could agree to that. So niggas been doing that shit, and it wasn't until it got acknowledged. So the fact that it got acknowledged is what set the whole conversation off. Right, it wasn't that niggas been doing that. It was set it off. It was it had to be acknowledged to get labeled. That's how we got set off, right? So my point was, like if we already know that niggas was doing that before they acknowledged it, what the fuck is the problem? Like acknowledging when they acknowledged it, how the fuck does that diminish the people who were doing it before they acknowledged it?
Because Logic,
I don't get
Logic, that. You're not arguing what a certain person was arguing yesterday, but a certain person was saying that until that acknowledgement came, that genre
he wasn't doing any of it.
It didn't exist. Okay. That was what set off.
If he was saying that there weren't no stand-up black comedians,
somebody is going in car wash, bro.
Hey, somebody got a lot of background noise. They might be driving or something.
I gotta get my real headphones. I used to be able to drill and everything. Y'all couldn't hear nothing.
All right. This is what I'm saying. This is stupid.
That was you, Logic? I thought it was somebody else.
Man.
Corey,
Is there any way to
you ever
reverse
watch
that?
Dream
I want
Girls?
to get cash back.
Let me say something. Corey, you ever watch Dream Girls? Dream Girls, the movie.
Yeah, with old girl. Yeah. With the what's her name? The singers. Beyonce and them.
Remember the Eddie Murphy character in Dream Girls. At the end of the show.
I don't remember a lot of it. But go ahead, tell me.
The Eddie Murphy character was a soul singer. And they put him on stage in front of the white audience. And he was supposed to be singing a ballad and rocking back and forth. And him looking at the audience and him seeing black crowd. And the black crowd was looking at him like, Negro, please. This is not you, Negro. And him start taking off his shirt and start getting busy and start breaking down the stage. Right?
That goes out too. So exactly, stupid. So when you want to, even the black man, if he want to appeal to a black crowd, he got to change up what he doing. He can't do the shit that he was doing for them white folk, right? They don't want to hear Lil Wayne's rock and roll song, not the black audience, right? They want to hear, goddamn it, drop it like it's hot. The niggas want to hear drop it like it's hot. Now the other group want to hear the guitar music.
No, the other audience want to hear Lil Wayne drop it like it's hot. They already got their motherfuckers who play the guitar and shit way better than Lil Wayne. They want to hear Lil Wayne for Lil Wayne. We got to stop.
No. When he crossed over,
but Liquor Wayne wanted to cross over and to be played in those living room. So he had to give it the guitar and he had to give it a skateboard and he had to come on ESPN. He went on ESPN in front of Skip Bailey and says, I don't know what racism is.
He played
so fuck everybody who don't get what I'm saying.
Still peas. I hear you loud. Still peas. Would he have gotten rid of those things that you said if he could have did just as good by keeping them, his skateboard and his guitar? You think he would have gave that up? No, right? On his own.
Gave what up?
He didn't give up anything.
I don't think he gave anything up.
Hold on, slow down. His guitar and his skateboard, right? Or did I mishear that? He didn't
give up his guitar and skateboard. He didn't give it up. No.
Okay, what did you say about? Okay, what did you say about his guitar?
Let me repeat because the accent is bad. Let me speak slowly. A crossover artist sometimes have to conform to the popular society, even in his thinking and what he says in public. Just like when Lil Wayne went on ESPN. Now, but I'm not hearing that. Let me finish, please. Just like when Lil Wayne went on ESPN and said he does not know what to do.
Nobody was interrupting you. That's just some background. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just like when Lil Wayne went on ESPN and said that he does not know what racism is. Crossing over is dangerous to the black community. Because these white people, these white black people who cross over for that audience oftentimes forget who they were, where they're from, and what their experiences are. Michael Jordan
stay right there. Let
me finish. Michael Jordan did it also.
Give him 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds.
He got it.
Michael Jordan did it when he says that white people wear Jordans too. That's a crossover fucking nigga. No, he's trying to bring himself back in his old age. I'm saying that, everything I have now is for the benefit of people. He's a crossover nigga. And we can name 100 of them.
Lives Matter statement.
Okay.
All lives matter statement.
I'm kind of put off right now. Like, are y'all saying like crossing? Like, is that a bad thing that Michael Jordan or Lil Wayne is no longer attached to what you personally believe is the black requirement or that black box that you must reside in? Because I personally
I'm not
believe
saying
that.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out the reality of it. I'm not saying
Hey,
it's bad.
but look though, that Lil Wayne argument is kind of flawed because if you're a Lil Wayne fan, he always said that he got shot. I think he shot himself, and he said a white resident or a white police is the one that saved him.
Police officer.
So he been cooning.
He
we
been
heard
been
that.
cooning
That
since day
was a
one.
long time ago. Yeah, that we've been.
No,
Okay. Hold on.
that's
Stupies.
What does that have to do with
Okay.
anything?
Now hold on, Stupies. Okay, hold on. Let's not do individuals, right? Say some people say some artists, because we keep saying people. Like these people ain't activists all the time, or sometimes they may have a message or something that they're trying to get out, right? Some people are just artists. They created particular art and they want to reach more people to generate, say, more income, popularity, all the things that go with that, right? Some people may see it as, okay, if I have a message and I get a chance to spread that message to a larger audience. Now, why are you doing that? Like, just relax, man. If you disagree, Chef. Jesus Christ. But everybody don't, quote unquote, right, crossover for the same reasons, right? Everybody don't do that. And it's not just defined as one thing. Okay, this person crossed over. Now, hold on. EPMD had a song called The Crossover. I'm just going to read one lyric. Everybody, like we're saying, because Chef in Haskell talking about, everybody know this already. If y'all fucking talking about it for 2 days, obviously everybody don't know. Y'all feel everybody don't know. Maybe us listening for 2 days know a lot of this shit, but y'all acting like don't nobody know. Because you
like
keep saying,
don't know.
Nah, yeah, just chill, nigga, just chill.
Yo, Hitch, when you done, man,
Stoopies. Now hold on, Stoopies. Yeah. Hold on now. Stoopies, real quick.
Are you gonna read the lyrics?
EPMD. Hold on. EPMD in 1992. The song is literally called The Crossover. And I bet any of y'all, we can find all the shit we talk about in a rap song somewhere, which is, hilarious. Not hilarious, but it's just how our brains work, right? So it says, control my career so I can never get stranded. That means, okay, if the label, everybody knows that means if the label owns it, they can shut me off. Or if I cross over, they can kick me the fuck out whenever they want. So that's just one line, one bar. But the rest are getting brand Nubian. So that's another bar. They're saying the people are, now hold on, they're getting brand new with their rap. They clothing, all that other good shit. Hold on, let me go down to the part where it said they're going gold. Now, hold on, let me just go down. Changed up their style from jeans to suits. I think Tori mentioned that. Thinking about a pop record, something made for the station, so it could be played on radio for a whole new relation. That's kind of what Stu Pease is talking about. With kind of what all of y'all talking. They understand if you make a crossover song or quote unquote pop record, they're going to play it on the radio stations. It's going to be played to people who wear suits, not jeans. And it's brand new.
May I say something now, man?
Now hold on, I'm almost done. And then hold on, you got it. Hold on. And then I just want to go to the part. The rap era is out of control. Brothers selling their soul. People understood. These are people making records in the 90s. And they put it on. This song is called Cross. And hold on, to go gold, going, gone, another rapper soul. That's a different type of person that's trying to cross over or did cross over. So when we say crossover, we automatically think everybody has the same intention. And that's not true. But we understand some of the, implications of when you do it. I ain't gonna read the whole damn song. Let anathema.
When I use the word crossover, I'm not using it in a negative connotation, right? I'm just saying because we can't run the same game all across the board. Like you're not gonna be able
to reserve a spot, Corey, man. I get you another conversation.
Got you. My bad. You good. You got it, bro. You got it.
Yo, I've just been listening. All right. So let's go about